the time of year when we watch the collapse of the polar vortex, and it's when the weather really starts to change as we move towards spring. That sounds scarier than it really is, but it's a common thing, and it happens this time of year, and we're starting to see it here across the North Pole. You can still see some signs of it, but the deal is it's definitely getting warmer up here across the Arctic, and that's displacing some of that cold air down into the mid-latitudes, and that's one of the reasons I think we're going to see some colder than normal temperatures across the United States heading through the end of March, maybe even into April, looking long term. It doesn't mean that's the way it's going to be. It doesn't mean you're going to get a big snowstorm, but unfortunately, it might just mean you're a little bit cold. We're looking at a blizzard today, at least starting to form as we head through really tonight into tomorrow here across the plains. Let's focus in on this threat, and then we're going to dive into some more details. Strong winds too, extreme fire danger across Texas and Oklahoma today. No rain's really going to be falling here, just a tremendous amount of wind. Blizzard conditions on the northwest side of this. Check this out. We've already got blizzard warnings now. These are new, and they're in effect now for parts of North Kansas. That includes Hays up into Nebraska, Lincoln, Grand Island, northeast to Sioux City. Does include Omaha, right up along the South Dakota border. It does include the far southwest counties. This is flanked by winter weather advisories, and within this also there are high wind warnings further to the south and red flag warnings for fire danger. That's increased. Let's continue to focus in on the blizzard, and remember, a blizzard is defined by winds over 35 miles per hour, more than 3 hours, when you've got that visibility reduced less than a quarter of a mile. And that's what we're going to see, and that could create some dangerous conditions here across Kansas, Nebraska, up into Iowa, and into parts of southern Minnesota. Minneapolis right now, winter storm watch to the southwest of town, but that blizzard warning right here just to the south of town, and then over toward Rochester, north into Wisconsin, Eau Claire, and then up into the UP of Michigan. It includes Marquette. We've got winter storm watches. So not exactly the highest confidence here, but you've seen that those winter storm watches get converted to blizzard warnings here across the central U.S. as we have a big storm incoming. Let's continue to track this out as we head through the next couple of days. This moves toward the Great Lakes. It's going to drop, again, a lot of snow. It's going to bring a lot of wind, and it's going to bring temperatures down behind it. There could even be some snow here from the Great Lakes, even down into the Appalachians on the backside of this as some cold air moves in. Temperatures will drop as we head toward Friday, and it's going to get windy across the east, drying out here across, we didn't really get much precipitation across Oklahoma and Texas, but I should say we're drying across the northern plains, and then we're watching the next system move into the Pacific Northwest. Let's talk about these blizzard conditions, and let's start first with the wind, and then we'll work our way toward the fire danger. Winds will start to pick up today as some cold air starts to move in from the north. You can kind of see that here. And then look at this. Winds gusting Wednesday morning into Wednesday afternoon across Nebraska into Iowa. Over 50, in some cases over 60. In fact, the high wind warnings have been for 65 miles per hour gust, and it looks like we're going to see that as we head through the next couple of days. Further to the southwest, again, here's where our fire danger is high, really across Oklahoma and Texas as our low wraps up, strong dry winds moving in here, and if you look at our wind gust, at times over 60 miles an hour. So this is going to be an intense storm as it wraps up across the country, a lot of dry air in place. This is relative humidity, so once we get into the afternoon, during those peak heating times, fire is going to be a problem, and highs will be in the 80s, close to 90 in some of these areas across parts of Texas and even Oklahoma. Some severe weather today further back to the west, but as we head into tomorrow, that bullseye starting to pick up here across Illinois, Indiana, maybe even down into Kentucky and Tennessee, down as far south as Mississippi and Alabama. The main threat at this point looks to be strong damaging winds, because if you look at the tornado threat, Storm Prediction Center isn't really high on that, but the wind is likely going to be the issue here with strong damaging winds getting tapped into aloft. Let's talk about snow amounts. All right, we'll start with Kansas here. Not a lot. Right up here along the Nebraska border, 2 to 3 inches, maybe close to 4. But again, the wind is going to be the problem. You're going to blow all that snow around. And then once you get up here to northeast Kansas, you're talking about more than 6 inches, and that continues up into Iowa, especially up in here where we've got the blizzard warnings. These are official touched forecast numbers showing close to 8, 9, 10 inches of snow here. So really impressive looking when you combine that with winds over 30, 40, gusting to 60 at times. And you can see how that threat continues further to the northeast. Again, where we have the winter storm watches, those official forecast numbers, greater than 6 inches up to Marquette, and then back here into a lot of central and north Wisconsin. Now, there could be some lighter snow further to the south, but the heaviest snow looks to be up into this region. Let's take the forecast region by region and sort of time frame by time. As we move through today across the Northeast, relatively quiet, no real major precipitation through today, and this would take you actually into Wednesday too. Not looking bad here. High temperatures today warming up into the 60s for New York, back into Pennsylvania, even western New York climbing into the 60s. Cool across the far northeast, and then temperatures as we head into Wednesday really start to moderate. Look at this, not bad. We're back up into the 60s as far north as southern Ontario. Even Vermont and New Hampshire getting into the 60s here with the mountains stuck in the 50s. Let's look at the south. We're dry today, quiet. A few showers start to develop as we head into Wednesday here across parts of Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, some showers moving through, and then our big storm starts to wrap up. You can see some of that on the far edge of the screen here, but here come the storms as we head through Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening across Missouri, Illinois, and as this low wraps up, some of these storms could get strong, especially here into Illinois, Indiana, south into Kentucky and Tennessee. Temperatures today, warm, mild, beautiful. Temperatures into the upper 60s and 70s. Great. That's all I can say. It's going to get you ready for spring. Spring fever is on for sure. All right, further to the north, we've got a little bit of snow moving through Ontario. Some snow tries to break out and some rain as we head into Wednesday morning. Now, this may start as some rain in some areas, but then as our cold air wraps in with our storm, there comes that transition to snow across parts of the UP of Michigan, back into Wisconsin, and north and northwest parts of Iowa. Now the snow's heavy, low pressure wrapping up, winds spinning around that, really driving that snow, and out ahead of it, here comes your severe threat as we head into the afternoon and evening on Wednesday. Timestamp is above my head. This is Eastern time, so you kind of get the idea. And then look at this. On the backside of this, some snow developing across southern Wisconsin. Now, this is not going to be a lot of snow. I think we're going to have a tough time accumulating it. But just for kicks, I do want to take a look at the snow totals. I don't know that we're actually going to see this much. I didn't plan on showing this map, so give me just a second to pull it up. The NAM is always heavy on the snow, but I'm interested in what it's putting out. So even if you were to get a big snow, you're talking about 2 to 3 inches here, if you can squeeze that out on the NAM. Not a believer in it. What I showed you first was the official forecast from the National Weather Service. And here's a look at your high temperatures today. All right, further to the south, big problems today with wind across Texas as our low deepens here. This is going to be a lee side low again as this trough swings out into the plains. Surface low pressure develops as you stretch your parcel of air, and bang, there goes your low, and big winds start to pick up on the southern side. Hot, dry winds on the northwest side, cold blizzard conditions, so fire and ice across the plains today, or I should say Wednesday, and then that snow could get heavy, and the wind is really going to be blowing here into North Kansas, Nebraska, into Iowa. Out ahead of this into Missouri, check it out. Not a lot of moisture to tap into. Normally you would think, all right, with a storm like this, you're going to get some severe weather going here, but look, hardly anything. But just because of the dry air that's in place, there will be some showers, and the strongest storms look to be as we can tap into some moisture across further to the north. Now, there could be some severe weather today, especially up here into parts of Iowa on the front side, or I should say late Tuesday night into Wednesday, ahead of our low, up across Iowa into Illinois, and then our main severe threat pushes to the east. High temperatures today. These are touch numbers too. North Texas, the official forecast right here along the Oklahoma border, close to 90. And again, you couple that with a high fire danger and you see the problem. Here's a look at your blizzard further to the north. We're zooming in a little bit closer here to southeast Nebraska. Big snow going here into Omaha, and then northeast into southern parts of Minnesota, and I really want to say north parts of almost right along the Minnesota border, some heavy snow here. So Rochester, Eau Claire, you're going to get some heavy snow out of this, and then we start to dry out. Temperatures will be on the way down here. We start warm, but then temperatures falling quickly as we head into Wednesday. Not really getting above freezing, at least very much, especially back here where the winds and the snow are going, where we'll be stuck at or below freezing. Across the southwest, the snow here is starting to lift out. We do see drier conditions. Another system will bring some snow into Northern California as we head into Thursday. Here's a look at your high temperatures today here across the southwest. A little bit cooler. We're not back into the 60s for places like Phoenix. And then across the Pacific Northwest, we're watching that next system move in here on Wednesday and Thursday. That'll bring heavy snow into the Cascades, Oregon, Washington, up into British Columbia. right, let's go back to the maps and let's take a look at the kind of the long term, what happens after this storm moves through. The low is expected again to move toward the Great Lakes. It's going to bring a lot of wind, a lot of rain, a lot of snow up into this region, and then your front will swing through the south. It'll bring some showers and some thunderstorms. Temperatures on the way down. High pressure builds in. We turn cool, but it's not going to last very long. We're starting to flatten our flow out, and temperatures go back above, or at least close to normal. Another cool shot of air, though. I was talking about that polar vortex collapsing and how we're dealing with the cold air in the mid-latitudes, and I think, again, another shot of some cool air. It doesn't look like a big warm-up. If anything, warm across the west and some cool weather for the east. That's my take as we start to wrap up March. Now, what about snow? I don't know. I'm telling you one thing. One time there was a setup just like this. Again, we're looking really far out, and this particular model doesn't show it here. But 2017, we had a setup just like this, and a piece of energy dove down like this from the northwest, and you developed a stripe of snow that went just like this. I think it may have ended down here in Virginia, North Carolina, but it dumped, somewhere in the order of 1 to 2 feet of snow. I'm not saying that's going to happen. The point is, you can never turn your back on March. That's all I got for now. If you're new, hope you'll subscribe, and I'll see you next time.